What's going on, guys? My name is Ben. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to another What Do I Think episode. And in this video, I want to talk about my experiences with working with network devices ever since that update video I made. I can't remember when it was, that was like a few months back. That was when I was mentioning how I was interested in computers and I wanted to bring some of my computer knowledge onto the channel, the knowledge that I build up as I work on computers. And so far I have done that. I've shown you how to install a graphics card, simple. Install the RAM, simple. Install the operating system, simple. You know, so far it was just the basics that I've been doing with computers. Nothing too crazy. And then I started showing, you know, some of the software stuff, which you can judge whether it's important or whether it's not important. It just depends on your needs. I showed you the one-click feature in your desktop where you don't have to double-click, and I've shown you how to get the Chinese handwriting pad. You know, installing RAM in the laptop, or actually I already mentioned that. And show you how to install a hard drive. Mention about IDE hard drives. I didn't even look back at my channel to see what I did, but I think I'm remembering most of the stuff off the top of my head. Now, these are considered network devices, well, computers, because they're devices that connect to a network in order for you to do extra stuff, like surf the web or watch movies online. So I consider anything as a network device that you can get online or provides you internet service. Alright? And not only have I been working with computers, I've also been working with other stuff like routers and, believe it or not, surveillance systems that connect to a router. Recently in the house we changed to a new router. We had an old Netgear router, and then we changed it to a newer Netgear router with wireless AC in there. So not only does it have 802.11b, and N, it also has 802.11b, and AC. Now, unfortunately, we can't use AC now because we don't have any devices in the house that has a AC Wi-Fi radio built in. But if one day I'm going to build my own custom PC, I'm hoping to get a motherboard with 802.11 Wi-Fi AC radio in there, in case if my hot wire doesn't work, or Ethernet cable as people call it. Some also refer to as a hot wire cable. And if the hot wire cable is not working, the Wi-Fi is working, then at least I'll have some sort of internet access in order to fix the issue of my computer. What have I done with the routers? Well, first of all, I set up the new router by myself, and that was the first time setting it up, and that wasn't too bad. Maybe that was just because that's Netgear's way of allowing their customers to set up for the first time. But what happens if I get like an Airport Extreme from Apple, or if I get, you know, a different router by Linksys or by Comcast, whatever, or Comcast makes the modem, or do they make the router? I have no idea. Routers I'm still not too familiar with, but I have gotten a good idea of how they work. The way you set up is you just log into the IP address of the router itself, and then you can change the settings on your own. So you can change the password from the old password that was preloaded on the router to a newer password. That way you're for sure no one knows your password to your router, and that way nobody can hack into your router and see all of the devices that are connected to your router. Also, there were certain cases where I had to change the IP address. Now, some people, when they heard this, they're like, what? Why would you change the IP address? You're supposed to take it the way it is. That, I have no idea. But, you know, for the surveillance system that I tried to set up, not for our house, but for somebody else, you know, it required that I had to change the IP address. And the IP address for the router, so the camera system had to be in the same range as the IP address in the camera. Let's say if it was from, you know, 192, or let me just make it simple for you guys to understand. Let's say if the IP address for a router was like 12.0.0.1, and it goes all the way up to 12.0.0.1, 103, then the camera system has to be in the same range. So the camera box could be in 12.0.0.3, and then all the IP cameras could be like .4, .5, .6, .7, depending on how many cameras you have. So really, that's what I've been doing. Now, again, like I said before, the surveillance system did that for somebody else because they asked me to help them out on like setting it up, get it working with the Wi-Fi. So they have one camera working with the Wi-Fi, and the 3 other cameras are connected through the Ethernet cable, because these cameras require to be connected to a router, and if you want to view the cameras on your smartphone, you have to have it connected to a router that's connected to a working or functioning modem. Alright, and if your modem's not functioning, then you have to contact your cable provider or your internet provider to see what's going on and all that good stuff. So how do I feel after working with these network devices ever since my last update video? I feel like I've learned plenty, because you know, I've never deal with the router before, and then recently when I deal with the router, that was actually not that bad. I try to figure out how some of the settings work and how to do certain things, how to do this, setting up a new router, and then setting up the Wi-Fi, set the password for the Wi-Fi, set the password for the router, all that. It's actually not that bad. Like, it's not tough at all. So if you guys like never tried playing around with the router before, or never seen the router settings, go ahead and give it a try. All you have to do is find out what IP address your router is, and then just log in, and then there will be a pop-up window where it'll ask you to give the login information for the router. You just type it in, and then that's it. And if you don't know how to if you don't know your IP address for your router, then just search it in the command prompt on your PC. Alright, all you have to do is go to the start button, and at the search bar type in CMD, which stands for command prompt. You hit enter, and then you type in the code ipconfig/all. So that's spelled exactly as ipconfig/all. You hit enter, it gives you a bunch of text, and you scroll up until you see the word that says default gateway. And when it says default gateway, it should have a number. Make sure your computer is connected to the router, and that should be the IP address for your router. At least that's what I know, because I know that gateway is the router itself. Because if I try to log on to like one of the cameras, for example, it showed gateway and then IP address. IP address was the IP address for the camera, and then gateway was the IP address for the router. That's what I know. Alright. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, so to create a system image in Windows 7, go to the start button, and you go to the